He's Barry Zito, former baseball pitcher, three-time All-Star, won a Cy Young, won the World Series in 2012, and has a new book called Curveball, How I Discovered True Fulfillment After Chasing Fortune and Fame, available online and wherever books are sold. And Barry joins us here in the New York City Mancave. Did you realize that it's been about 15 years since we last crossed paths?
I didn't. I can't believe it.
Spring training.
2004 was 15 years ago. That's scary.
Yeah. And I was doing a bullpen session. I was with Rob Dibble, and then you guys, I think you said, let's get the radar gun. Let's see what you can top out at. And I went, oh, I'd rather that it was just like, man, I think he was throwing pretty hard there. Instead of, okay, here's the jugs gun, and I think I topped out at 71.
Oh, yeah. I was hoping you wouldn't throw harder than me, so I was happy about that.
Now, did I throw harder than Jamie Moyer did?
Oh, Jamie, that guy's an enigma. He was getting guys out with like 79-mile-an-hour fastballs.
How does that happen?
It's mental witchery, something.
But when you throw a pitch, like how many times did you throw a pitch and go, oh, boy, this is bad?
Oh, yeah, as a pitcher, people don't know this, but the way that the ball feels off your fingertips, a lot of times, you can tell at that point if it's going to be a good pitch or not. Even location-wise, I mean, when that timing hits up, sometimes that changeup would come out of my hand, and I'd go, oh, no. And, of course, it would be a double in the gap.
Or a home run.
Or a home run.
Well, do you remember one sound? Greg Maddux would always tell me a home run was like cars crashing. Like there was just this sound, and it's unmistakable. Like, did you ever have one of those moments where it just stood out where you went, oh, my God, where's it going to land?
Oh, it's funny. A lot of guys, when they give up a homer, they stare down the hitter, right? Because they know the second they see it, the pitcher.
Yeah, but why are you staring down the hitter?
Yeah,
It's not. He did what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, he's been working his whole life to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would always turn around and just hope and pray that it wouldn't go over, even though I knew it was going to be 30 rows deep. So I was the guy that turned around and looked. Oh, no. Oh, man.
Who hit the longest home run off you? Don't you like here you've done all these things?
Here we go.
Talking about a home run. Nobody cares about what you did right. We want to know what you did wrong.
No, this is fun. Okay, this is going to be totally out of the archives. Corey Koski in the Metrodome. For those of you that have been in the Metrodome in Minnesota, the old field, this thing was in the top deck, literally in right center. So the third deck in the Metrodome was nobody ever sat up there, and they had these big tarps hanging. But he hit one in the third deck in right center. It wasn't down the line in the third deck. Corey Koski.
Hit a bomb.
Oh, my ego was crushed as bad
Paul,
as
bring
the
out
ball.
Corey Koski. Yeah. All right, let me go. We were talking about you. Okay. First of all, if you're just listening on the radio and you don't know what Barry Zito looks like, you're a handsome guy. You're like a WB actor. Like you'd be on the WB somewhere.
That is the highest compliment I've ever received.
Okay. And then you decide to play guitar. Like, that's not really unfair to the rest of us. That's ball hogging is what it is. Like, right?
That's good. I'll tell you why I started playing guitar. I mean, I knew I was going to be on these bus trips, nightmare. I saw Bull Durham like every other kid growing up. And so the second I signed with the Oakland Athletics out of college, I started playing guitar because I knew I was going to be going nuts on these road trips. That's literally the only reason I did it.
And did you take after anybody? Did you model your guitar playing after?
I think a lot of kids in that generation were Dave Matthews influenced.
Have you met Dave?
I have met Dave a few times, yeah,
He has no idea who you are or what you did, right?
No, you know what? We had this guy that used to run a private jet company that I knew. He knew Dave, and he introduced us. You know what's funny? My wife was with me, and she walks by Dave, and Dave makes a comment about her, and I'm like, hey, I'm over here, buddy. And he looks at her and gives her the up and down, and I'm like, okay, I guess whatever way I can get in, right?
You could have taken him.
Yeah, I could have.
But Dave Matthews has no sports knowledge whatsoever.
I don't think so, no.
No, I've been around him. I was with Darius Rucker, and he said, hey, just so you know, Dave is not going to know anything about you. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Of course he knows who I am.
I'm me, come on.
And I go backstage, and then I go, hey. And Darius goes, hey, it's Dan Patrick. And Dave Matthews spent about 3 seconds, maybe, and he went, oh, nice to meet you. And then he goes right to Darius, and I go, I'll be damned. He has no idea who I am. Fast forward to I did a Sandler movie with him, and I told him about that, and he goes, and I go, well, I thought you would know sports. He goes, no, my drummer does.
Oh, Carter,
Yeah.
huge fan.
Yeah, but Dave had no idea whatsoever.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
A lot of these creatives, man, they're kind
Sad.
of in their own little laboratory, doing their thing.
How accurate was Bull Durham?
Oh, that was the most accurate baseball movie that there ever was.
What's your favorite story from the minor leagues that you can tell?
My favorite story was, oh gosh, first time I ever signed, basically my first couple days in professional baseball. I drive up to Visalia, California from my home in LA, a couple hours north. And the catcher takes me out to the El Presidente in Visalia. It was the hottest bar in town. Proceeds to shove the most cheap tequila in existence down my throat. And I show up to the field the next day, literally almost falling down in the outfield because my body had no water in it whatsoever. And so I asked my coach, who was Kurt Young at the time, Kurt, do you think I can go down to the ER and get a couple bags of saline? Because I need some hydration. And that was literally my third day in pro ball. So I did not come out with a great reputation.
You didn't get in trouble?
I was a first rounder, so maybe I got a little more slack than the other guys. But that was the last time I ever did that.
I hate Moneyball. I do. And
The film, the story, the portrayal, which part of it?
Well, they don't mention the pitching staff. Like, you guys are an afterthought in Moneyball in the movie. Like, all it is about these hitters who take a lot of pitches. Like, it's the Scott Hatterberg story.
It may not be super accurate to what happened. I mean, we also had an MVP that year, Miguel Tejada, and they didn't mention that either.
Yeah, like Moneyball, it sounds in theory like, oh, wow, that's neat. But in the reality, you had a great hitter and you had a great staff. You had a great closer. You can have Moneyball if you have those things in place, right?
Yes, no baseball team is going to perform well without great pitching. We know that. Certainly in the playoffs. And, the original script to that film was actually more of the story that was true to form, but they thought it was not going to sell well in the theaters. So the whole thing got canned and they started over. And they found a new writer, new director, and everything.
Oh.
So me, Mulder, and Huddy were actually going to have cameos in the first version of that movie.
And then you guys didn't get anything.
Yeah, we never got the call after that.
Get scraps.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a sequel to Moneyball?
What would that be?
What would the sequel be in Moneyball?
That would be interesting. Oh, man. My mind's racing everywhere right now. It's funny. The A's
Maybe
still
the
have...
Jason Giambi story.
That could be great.
Oh, boy.
That could be good.
He was. Now, I love Jason. I thought he was always entertaining and wacky.
Wacky. Jason had an uncanny ability to show up to the field with a couple Big Macs and fries and then go like 3 for 4 with 2 bombs.
But did you ever see the gold thong? Did you ever?
I did see a few
Did you
thongs.
wear the thong?
He had an incredible tan as well. And oddly, no tan lines with the thong. So.
Did you ever wear the thong?
I never did. No,
Oh,
I was a
okay.
young buck. Jason barely ever talked to me.
Really?
Yeah, he was a huge leader in the clubhouse, but he was not like the rah-rah guy. He kind of led by example, and he would let you know when you were out of line. But Jason actually kept to himself quite a bit.
He was pretty good. I remember the home run derby in Milwaukee. Paulie and I, we were with Giambi the night before, and he got plastered. And
Jason?
Yeah, go figure.
Wow.
And he was in a full sweat prior to the home run derby. Like,
Was he really?
He was drinking ginger ale. And he goes, I don't know if I can go out there. And then he goes, well, maybe I'll just go out there and then I'll just, bow out in the first round. And then he set the record in the first round of the home run derby.
Oh, that is wonderful.
It was one of the more incredible performances, but I couldn't tell anybody that he was hammered. He was still drunk, I think, during home run derby.
Oh, that's so wonderful. No, you know what? Listen, there is something to performance, and when you're not totally crisp and you're a little tired.
Yeah.
I have heard some stories about some great performances in the history of the major leagues where the guys actually were out most of the night before, and they came back and did these historic things that we've all heard of.
Well, David Wells did that.
Yes, David Wells was one of them.
Did you ever do it?
That did not work for me.
Really?
I may have tried that once in the minor leagues. It didn't work. So I was probably too rested on my start days.
The new book is called Curveball, How I Discovered True Fulfillment After Chasing Fortune and Fame, available online wherever books are sold. We mentioned yesterday you're sort of the pitching version of Derek Jeter. I know you're happily married now, but there's some girlfriends there that you did well.
Here's my thing. I was deeply insecure I was,
So-
and I was looking for something to validate me. And this book is kind of about the idea that I didn't have a foundation of anything that was more important than baseball. Coming up, I had a father that was kind of he was a talent manager, and then I came along and I was like his only client. So he was, be famous, go do this, win championships, get all the money. So I felt this pressure.
Famous.
He had his own fame aspirations. He was actually a conductor for Nat King Cole in his day. So he had his version of fame too. And so when I started performing poorly, specifically, in San Francisco, I started trying to win Cy Youngs in the Hollywood clubs because I couldn't win them on the field anymore. So it was really an overcompensation thing, the whole dating thing for me.
So you lost your identity when you lost your pitching ability.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, the book is kind of the very transparent tale of a guy that took it too seriously and the collapse internally that happened as a result.
But are you looking at these women? These are famous women, but are you looking for famous women to validate you in some way?
In a lot of ways, yeah. I mean, my ego was leading the charge. So, I was seeing myself on the cover of Us Weekly. I was trying to be like, okay, red carpet, this and that. And, for me, and it wasn't conscious. I wasn't like trying to use these people for, my own thing. It was this subtle motivation in the background that was running my whole life.
Alyssa Milano? Who else? Jennifer Love Hewitt?
My wife's in the green room. That's right.
Well, I know, but your wife is, you know what? You're lucky. You found your wife.
I did.
Is it in the book?
Alyssa, I use her name by name,
Okay.
and the others are not.
Okay.
And
But
so-
who told you? Like, at what point does the light go off and say, what am I doing here? Like, who am I?
Who told me? That's a great question. No, you know what? My pain and failure and struggle told me. I got left off the roster after 4 years in San Francisco, and making almost $20 million to be a cheerleader, and then being so ruled by my ego, I was basically trying to survive. So I ended up rooting against the team as they were trying to win a World Series. Wow. Hoping they would lose to validate my ego once again, right? I mean, and so it was a really dark place. And so I go home and all my friends are celebrating this ring and I'm sitting there trying to act happy in these champagne rooms. But really, I'm like, I'm a zero. I'm making more money than any of you guys. And I'm actually not even good enough to be a part of this. So that's when my whole thing just came apart.
But what is that like that you're making $20 million, but you're not really part of the team? Like, are you embarrassed?
Oh, embarrassed, shame. I mean, the whole deal,
I know people go, oh, woe is Barry. He's making $20 million. But, you're not thinking the money. It's just, I'm not part of this team. And it makes it even more obvious that I'm making $20 million, that I'm not even good enough to pitch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would show up to the field those 30 days. I'd show up to the field, headphones, sunglasses. I mean, I had so much shame. I was walking in the tunnel to the clubhouse, and the concessionaires, I felt like, were giving me, scowls and looking at me. Of course, these guys are busting their tails, right, and making, not as much as we were. And I'm sitting here, not even on the team really, and walking through the tunnel trying to bow my head. And don't look at me, man. I mean, I was disgusted.
Wow.
Hated myself.
How tough is that to go to the ball? Like, you must have hated going to the ballpark.
Oh, the ballpark was the last place I wanted to be. The last place. Yeah, I mean, I would literally drive around. I remember driving around San Francisco those days before going to the park every day for the playoff games, listening to this famous composer, Japanese composer who I love, but he plays this kind of very mellow piano music. And just most of the time, just crying in my Range Rover with the tinted windows so nobody could see me, but like so just in the darkest place.
Why are you crying?
Like, how did I get here? Like, I came out of the chute, like winning Cy Youngs and just and what happened to my life? That kind of thing.
But there was no injury?
Mental DL.
Wow.
Yeah, mental DL. Yeah, I didn't miss too many starts, but
Not many
I was
guys
a
get
mess.
put on the DL, and it's listed as mental.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, and for me, it all ties back to one thing. I didn't have a foundation of anything more important than baseball, right? And so what happened as a result, I go back to L.A., going to a 12-step program for being obsessed with opinions of other people's. It's called codependency. Step one, I've become obsessed with others' opinions, and my life has become unmanageable. And that was it. Step two, there's a power greater than me that can restore my sanity. I never thought there was a power greater than me because of how I was raised in this spiritual background. I thought I was the higher power.
But you have to let yourself go. You have to be willing to let yourself go. And that's really hard for a pitcher who you're always in control. Every fourth or fifth day, you're in control. I'm on the mound, and here you go. Now I got to go, okay, take me wherever you're going to take me, but somebody's got to grab me.
Oh, that's it. And there's so much strength in that humility of this is what I can control and everything else is completely out. That's actually the biggest strength ever. Trying to control every last detail, that's weakness and that's fear, right? So I finally got to that point a couple years later, and, you know.
Good for you. And having a great woman there to help you, too.
Amber saved me.
The book is called Curveball, How I Discovered True Fulfillment After Chasing Fortune and Fame. Barry Zito is with us, and when we come back, he'll bring out the guitar, ladies. What are you going to play?
I got a couple songs. One's kind of like the book thing, though, so I'll play that. It's called Secret to Life.
Okay. Is this going to be heavy?
Yeah, you get the tissues out. You guys got them?
Maybe we do like a fun song. Can you do like a fun song?
I can do that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll come back with Barry Zito after this. He's Barry Zito. Can't say enough good things about the book because it's a deep dive. Curveball, How I Discovered True Fulfillment After Chasing Fortune and Fame, available online wherever books are sold. Not only win a Cy Young, win a World Series, all of those great things, but he plays guitar as well. So he's going to give us a little medley here in the final couple minutes of this hour. So go ahead, Barry.
Let's do it.
All right.
It's called Secret to Life.
All right.
It ain't about the money that you got in the bank. It ain't about how many hearts you can break. It don't matter how many people know your name, even though that's what they say. That's what they told me, at least. It ain't about what place you get in the races that you run. It ain't about the big game that comes rolling off your tongue. Or if you got good looks like Elvis did when he was 21, even though it is to some. One thing I've learned from all these damn mistakes of mine, it's never worth the chase when chasing temporary highs. But I had to try. Yeah, the world's got a seat on top. I saw it once, it wasn't what I thought. I came back down, now I'm better off. I may not know the secret to life, but I know what it's not.
Look at you. Look at you.
All right.
Where'd the twang come from? Got a little country twang there.
All right, I'll throw a pick out to you.
Whoa, that's nice. Nice.
I've never done that. That's why I don't know how to do it.
Where'd the country twang come from?
You know, writing in Nashville, you know, a lot of the songs that, you know, I had written for a few years after I retired were co-written, because in Nashville that's a thing, you co-write.
Yeah.
And you know, and a lot of times my co-writer would kind of sing it as we're writing it, and then all of a sudden I'm getting a twang. And it's like, where'd that come from? I'm from San Diego.
No.
In fact, I remember one time we were playing the Rangers in Arlington, and I was at this bar ordering a drink. Hey, man, can I get a beer? And he goes, you're not from around here, are you? I'm thinking, oh, yeah, I'm Cali all the way, right? He goes, you're from North Texas, aren't you? And I'm like, he's like, yeah, I hear it. You got the draw from North, and I don't know where it came from.
Good for you.
Yeah. By the way, thanks for Gibson, man. They hooked it up with a guitar yesterday on like 2 hours notice. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah, this thing's awesome.
All right. Hey, good luck with the book tour and life. You know, that more importantly.
I appreciate it, Dan.
Yeah. I don't know if you care about our opinions, as you said you did before. You were worried about our opinions, but I always love talking to you because I got something of substance when I spoke to you. So I don't know who that Barry was, but this Barry, pretty good person here.
I appreciate that, Dan. I've had some fun, man. This is beautiful, and it's nice seeing all you guys.
Well, the book is called Curveball, How I Discovered True Fulfillment After Chasing Fortune and Fame. Why wasn't it fame and fortune? Why was it fortune and fame?
It just had a little better, really. Fortune and fame, you know?
Oh.
Fortune and fame. If you had to sing it, it would sing better.
It would. As fortune and fame. I
Yeah,
can
you
rhyme
know.
more with fame, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Should we tell them to reprint?
It's available online wherever books are sold.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.